Hey guys, Brett here, connecting from UbiCentral, and today I'm going to be counting down 5 different things you probably didn't know about Ubisoft. So let's get started. South Park: The Stick of Truth. As most of you know, this game was published by Ubisoft, and it was one of their more critically acclaimed titles in the past few years. But with that said, this game was originally going to be published by THQ before going bankrupt in early 2013. Now, here's where things get pretty interesting. Apparently, the developer, Obsidian, didn't even know the game was being sold until the auction was announced. Obsidian and South Park Digital Studios actually filed a court case claiming that THQ did not have the authority to sell the publishing rights. But the US bankruptcy court didn't agree and approved the sale, and Ubisoft ended up getting the publishing rights. But the story doesn't even end here. Within 3 weeks of buying the property, Ubisoft decided that the game needed significant changes, and they pushed back its release by 6 months. Keep in mind, Obsidian was already developing this game for a good 3 years, but surprisingly, it ended up releasing, and it was really good, despite all of the issues it had to go up against. But it was pretty clear that Obsidian was done with the franchise after all of this, and Ubisoft San Francisco ended up developing the second game. Did you know that Ubisoft actually helped out with Elder Scrolls 3 all the way back in 2002? Now, in all honesty, this isn't the biggest involvement ever, as the game was developed and published by Bethesda. However, Bethesda ended up reaching out to Ubisoft for help with the European distribution, and as you can see, Ubisoft had their nice little logo on the box art for versions that were released in Europe. So that's pretty cool. Before the Assassin's Creed movie, there was actually one for Far Cry. You probably never heard of it though, because it made $100,000 at the box office, and the budget was $30 million. Unfortunately, I've had the pleasure of watching this movie myself, and it's probably the worst thing I've ever seen. And it's not one of those so bad it's good movies, it's just plain awful. The story, the action, the acting, everything about it is so bad, it really makes you question where that $30 million went, because it definitely did not go towards this movie. So before Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Ubisoft Quebec actually developed Avengers: Battle for Earth back in 2012. You've probably never heard of this either, because it was a Kinect title for the Xbox 360, and it was later released on the Wii U as well. But basically, this game is like a mix of Injustice and Marvel vs. Capcom, just not as good. And that's actually not to say it's awful, because the game has a 62 on Metacritic, which is pretty insane for a Kinect game. But there's definitely a lot better fighting games out there where you don't actually have to move around 24/7. Massive Entertainment. You most likely know them as the developers for The Division and the upcoming Avatar game. But before Ubisoft acquired them, they were actually owned by Vivendi. That's right, the company that's been trying to buy Ubisoft for the last few years owned Massive Entertainment. So yeah, that would be pretty interesting if Vivendi owned Massive Entertainment again, but thankfully that doesn't seem to be the case anymore, at least right now. Anyways, those are 5 things you probably didn't know about Ubisoft. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.